What's up everyone, how's it going? Today I have a sort of small news update regarding some changes to some heroes like Anakin and Darth Maul, some changes to the game modes, and then HVV minimap changes, and quite a few other things coming in the hotfix that comes out I believe tomorrow. So if you want, be sure and leave a like on the video as it really helps out the channel and the YouTube's algorithm. But let's jump right into these changes. And it starts off by saying, hello there, we're releasing a small update this month to address some balancing concerns and issues, including reducing Anakin's effectiveness in modes like Capital Supremacy and Galactic Assault, where he can cut through troopers too easily while retaining his capabilities when facing off against a villain. And then talks about some other things, basically going over the overview of the hotfix. So let's start off with Anakin Skywalker. So these are some pretty good changes. It says they reduced the duration of the choking during Anakin's retribution ability from 4 to 2 seconds, so split it down in half is what they did. And then his retribution ability no longer charges up based on damage received by heroic might. So this was a pretty big concern, so luckily this is being fixed. Also, it says heroic might no longer deals increased damage as Anakin takes damage. It says the ability's radius still increases as Anakin takes damage, and I think this is probably the biggest change that is coming with this hotfix for Anakin, because that was a huge problem with heroic might, as all of your other teammates would just keep shooting him and you're just stuck right in the middle of that area, and then you're just instantly gonna die, and there's pretty much nothing you can do about it. But they did increase the base damage of heroic might from 70 to 90 against heroes, and then they reduced it from 130 to 120 against troopers, so some pretty good balance changes to Anakin. I still think he is going to be a little bit overpowered just because of the combination that his abilities are used in. I made a whole video on him and how they can fix that, but unfortunately they did not make that change. My idea was to make it if you use one ability, all the other abilities are on a recharge as well, so use heroic might. That means you can no longer force pull or use retribution. I think his saber slash ability is fine as it is. I don't think they need to change that. But basically, if you use one of the abilities, the other three are no longer able to work except for his saber slash ability. So those are all the changes we have on Anakin. I think they're okay. I mean, they're not the best, but I think this will make him a lot more fair in game modes like Capital Supremacy and Galactic Assault. Heroes versus villains, he's still pretty powerful, so we'll just have to see where that goes. But next up, we have a huge change for Darth Maul that me and a lot of other people in the community have been requesting, and that is that he now throws his lightsaber horizontally instead of vertically. I am super glad that they actually made this a feature, and it is coming in the hotfix tomorrow. I thought they were going to do it in an actual update, but luckily it is coming out tomorrow with the hotfix. But there is a problem with this that I do have some high concerns for, and that is that they reduced his damage of his Furious Throw from 150 down to 75. So they cut it right in half, and honestly, I don't think this was necessary. I feel like this is going to make the ability kind of not useless, but really weak to the point to where people don't really want to use it. As someone who uses Darth Maul quite a lot, I feel like he was a really decent counter to Anakin, at least the best villain that counters Anakin. That's just my opinion. I've been able to kill him quite a few times as Darth Maul just because of his speed and his agility and his ability to regain a lot of health at a very fast pace. So I feel like cutting the Furious Throw ability from 150 down to 75 is just unnecessary, and honestly, it's going to be cool to see the horizontal throw, and while it does do damage both ways, so coming forward and coming back, you know most of the time that you use the saber throw ability, once it goes through him, the enemy is just going to roll away and it's no longer going to hit him. So I feel like making it 75 is a little bit overkill. I feel like they could have been fine at leaving it out 150. Honestly, it'd make Darth Maul a really good character as well as a very good counter to Anakin. But that is just my opinion, so let me know down below, do you guys think they should have reduced it to 75 like they did, or do you think it was fine the way it is? Just let me know in the comments down below. So next up in the hotfix, we have some changes to a few game modes, so I'll go over these quickly. So they reduced the number of players required to start the game modes. For Blast, it's going from 8 players to 4, Strike 8 to 4, and then Heroes vs. Villains from 8 to 6. So that's really good news because I've had so many incidences where all we need is 1 or even 2 more players to start the match in Heroes vs. Villains, and we're just waiting for like 10 minutes, and honestly, it's just so annoying, so I'm glad to see they made this change to these modes. So finally, we have a few just smaller changes that are coming in with the hotfix tomorrow. The first change is that the minimap in Heroes vs. Villains will now work similarly to Hero Showdown and will not constantly show all players on the screen. This is something that many people in the community were requesting, so luckily it is being changed. Personally, I was okay with how it was. I mean, it didn't bug me, but I didn't really like it either. At the same time, I was just like, it's kind of a whatever thing, but it is good to see that this is being changed. Next up, heroes will now cost the same amount of battle points across all maps. This is a surprising change. I haven't really seen many people complain or request this, but hey, maybe I just wasn't really paying attention to it. So that is a new change, and it's kind of a big one too. So next up is a fix with Iden's Droid Battery Star Card, and basically what it would do is it would make the cooldown time from like 25 seconds down to like 7, I think it was. That was a complete glitch, so that is being fixed luckily, so she will not be super overpowered and you will not get stunned by her every 7 seconds or so. So next up, they fixed an issue where Han Solo would be unable to jump if the sharpshooter ability got cancelled or interrupted. I didn't even know if this was a glitch, but hey, there you go. And then they fixed an issue where the DC-15LE would have no crosshair when close aiming if the improved zoom attachment was equipped. I did notice this when I was using the heavy, so that is good news. And then next up, they fixed a visual issue of the animation of the black gear of the 91st Recon Corps. I saw some people posting about that on Reddit. Then they fixed an issue where one of the roofs on Camino allowed players to jump out of the map geometry. I've had issues like that on a lot of maps, especially on Yavin 4, so luckily they're getting into fixing those. And then they fixed a visual issue with the brightness of the command post projections on Geonosis and Kashyyyk. Again, I didn't notice this, but I guess this was an issue. And then they fixed an issue where the LAAT pilots would be floating in air when boarding the Dreadnought on Geonosis and Capital Supremacy. That's a funny glitch, but hey, they did fix that. And then next up, it's the deployment info. So whenever this update will be released, it's 8 a.m. UTC for PC, and then 9 a.m. UTC for PS4, and then 10 a.m. UTC for Xbox One. But that is pretty much all for this hotfix video. There's quite a lot of changes, so I'm really glad to see this, and I think my favorite change is the Darth Maul horizontal throw, but again, I am disappointed to see that they did reduce the amount of damage it does. But Anakin is also getting nerfed, so hopefully he's a little bit more balanced, but we'll just have to see tomorrow when this hotfix gets released. And that is pretty much going to do it for today's video. Again, if you did enjoy, be sure and leave a like. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm. Let me know your thoughts about this hotfix down below, and if you're new, subscribe for more Star Wars news, gameplay, and more, and I will hopefully see you in the next one.